had been dating Song Ziyu for a year when he strode into a charity gala, flaunting his secretary on his arm. In front of the entire hall he bid against me, eventually paying an astronomical price for a diamond necklace, just to please her. Afterwards he said, with a shrug, "You can have anything you want. Why fight a little girl over a trinket?" I looked at the secretary beside him. "Keep the necklace," I said, "and take the man, he's part of the package." Later that same necklace was bought, at double the price, by Lu Huayan, the newly returned master of the Lu family. When reporters asked whom it was for, Lu Huayan answered lazily, "For my wife to toss around. After all, there's nothing she wants that I can't buy." On the auction floor the gavel was still falling. 6 million, the auctioneer cried. I lifted my paddle. The auctioneer brightened. 8 million. Any higher? Silence. 8 million once. 8 million twice. 16 million. I spun toward the voice in the back row. I knew it too well. The room gasped. Doubling the price at a charity auction was almost unheard of. Yi Bai, sitting beside me, tugged my sleeve. "In that Song Ziyu. Is he buying it back for you?" I had recognized my boyfriend of 1 year the instant he spoke, but beside him sat a young girl, fresh from campus, still half a child. At his bid she clapped a hand over her mouth, eyes shining in disbelief, then shyly punched his chest. Song Ziyu glanced my way, smiled, and ruffled her hair, head swiveled toward me. Yi Bai's face darkened. "What's he playing at? Who is that girl?" She started to rise. I caught her arm. "Don't. If the paparazzi catch us, tomorrow's headlines will be even uglier." The auctioneer moved to the next lot. The crowd's attention shifted. I closed my eyes, composing myself, mourning the fingernail I had just snapped clutching the chair. I didn't bid again. When the gala ended I left my best friend, returned to the hotel, and went looking for Song Ziyu. I remembered he had reserved his usual private room for business. I pushed open the door. "Ziji, you embarrassed sis-in-law in public. Aren't you going to apologize? Back then you chased her so hard. Now you're bored?" The young secretary was curled in Song Ziyu's lap. Around her throat glittered the necklace he had just bought. Under the room's lights I finally recognized her, his new secretary. I myself had fished her resume from the pile months ago. "This one looks good, same alma mater as you," I had told him then. "My wife's pick is always perfect," he had answered. Now the sight of them turned my stomach. Song Ziyu tightened his arm around the girl and flicked ash from his cigarette. "What? You expect me to play the devoted husband forever? She's a perfect match on paper. My family won't shortchange her. If you guys hadn't bet me she was the hardest catch in town, would I have wasted 3 years? Remember how I ran that Lu kid off? Still makes me laugh." He raised his glass. The room went oddly quiet. Through the smoke he noticed me in the doorway, let his hand slip from the secretary's shoulder for a second, then deliberately replaced it. "Looking for me?" he drawled. "Run along. We're still drinking." I stepped forward, picked up a glass, and emptied it over his head. Gasps. A couple of his friends rushed to restrain me. "Sis-in-law, chill, it's just a game." Song Ziyu wiped his face. The secretary dabbed him with napkins. He shoved her hand away and hurled the empty tumbler. "Shanine, have you lost your mind?" "Yes," I said. "I lost it the day I dated a man like you. Once he had chased me for 3 relentless years. Flowers, flash mobs, private jets, anything that might win a girl's heart." Netizens joked about young Master Song's 100 ways of love. Even Yi Bai admitted she had never seen such persistence. I had begun to believe it was real. I never imagined the real thing would expire in 12 months and be revealed as nothing more than a wager on who could bag the hardest girl in Beijing. "What kind of man do you think I am?" he sneered. "Men are all the same. Don't tell me you still believe in fairy tale love in our circle. After we marry you'll want for nothing. Just don't interfere with me. An arranged marriage with me beats one with a stranger, doesn't it?" The man in front of me was unrecognizable. Had he rotted from the inside, or had he always been rotten? I swallowed the lump in my throat. "I'd rather marry a stranger than you. You disgust me." I looked at the secretary. "Keep the necklace, and take the man too." Song Ziyu's laugh was cold. "Remember what you said tonight. Let her go," he barked at his friends. "Half of Beijing has already been rejected by her. Let's see if she crawls back begging for this marriage." The scene at the gala and the breakup exploded across social media that night. Headline: Proud mission dumped in public. Boyfriend outbids her for another woman. Yi Bai called. Furious. Have the media lost their minds? He cheated. Why are you the punching bag? Because watching a proud princess fall is more fun, I said. By morning the scandal had been buried under a new headline. Lu Huayan returns to take full control of Lu Group. Welcome banquet imminent. No matter which circles you moved in, finance or gossip, Lu Huayan's homecoming was seismic news. My little drama looked petty by comparison. For days every restaurant and party hummed with talk of Lu Huayan. Yi Bai nudged me. With timing this perfect, I swear he's come back to watch watch you suffer. I sipped my juice. Let him. One more spectator won't kill me. A man's voice answered from the edge of our table. Is that so? Miss Shen has become quite philosophical. I looked up. Familiar eyes. Sharper than I remembered. Yi Bai's jaw dropped. The man inclined his head. Lu Huai'an. My straw slipped and plopped into the glass. Talk about speaking of the devil. Reports claimed he would not land for days, yet here he was, already back to claim his empire. Trying to avoid the paparazzi, he said mildly, your face has trended for 3 days straight. That's low-key? I retorted. Yi Bai scooted over eagerly and invited him to sit. I rubbed my temples. Once upon a time I had humiliated this scion of the Lu family in front of all. Beicheng. Now he had returned just in time to witness my own disgrace. If karma had a timing sense, it was impeccable. Yi Bai suddenly widened her eyes at something behind me. I turned. Walking in hand, were my freshly minted ex and his little secretary. They chose a table diagonally across from us. Song Ziyu spotted me at once and strolled over, until he saw Lu Huai'an. A sneer curled his lip. No wonder you wanted to break up, your old lapdogs. Back. I set my glass down with a thud. 3 years you played lapdog to me. No one outlapped you. His face darkened. Behind him the secretary gasped. Miss Shen, how can you dismiss President Song's sincerity? Sincerity. I laughed. If he offered that sincerity to a stray dog, the dog would walk away. I thought of what I'd overheard in the private room. A bet. Nothing more. Where was the sincerity? Lu Huai'an, silent until now, drew out several invitations. My grandfather's welcome banquet. Do us the honor. A hush fell. Song Ziyu's gaze flicked over the heavy cream envelopes. Everyone knew the Lu family was transferring full control to Lu Huai'an. The banquet was the social event of the year. By contrast, Song Ziyu still needed his father's sign-off on major decisions, and the Lu Empire dwarfed the Song conglomerate in both age and reach. My rejection of Lu Huai'an years ago had been Song Ziyu's favorite bragging point, until now. Song Ziyu took an invitation with a brittle smile. Wouldn't miss it. Lu Huai'an extended another to the secretary. You're coming too, of course. As President Song's girlfriend, you deserve proper courtesy. The girl beamed, clutching the card like gold. She glanced at Song Ziyu, silently begging for confirmation. He had never publicly called her his girlfriend. Lu Huai'an's smile was polite. Song Ziyu's face turned the color of ash. To refuse now would brand him a coward in front of every power player in Beicheng, yet to attend with a penniless secretary on his arm would make him a laughingstock. We'll be there, Lu Huai'an concluded, sealing Song Ziyu's fate. Then he produced one last envelope, smaller, heavier vellum, my name penned by old Mr. Lu himself. Grandfather insisted I hand this to you personally. Please don't refuse. I'd never hear the end of it. Yi Bai snatched it, waved it under Song Ziyu's nose, then grinned at Lu Huai'an, the heir himself delivering incoming mistress treatment. Lu Huai'an inclined his head in agreement. Song Ziyu's face cycled from white to green. With a curt snort he dragged his secretary away. Dinner forgotten. Only, after Song Ziyu stalked off did Yi Bai stick out her tongue at his back. How dare he slap our Yinyin in the face at the auction. At the banquet I'll make sure he learns what losing face really means. On the morning of the banquet Yi Bai arrived at my house with half a dozen gowns. She chose one for me, then stood over the makeup artist like a drill sergeant. Yi Bai, it's only a party. I protested. Lu Huai'an is the star today. There's no need to go overboard. She practically jumped. Have you forgotten Song Ziyu will be there? You have to outshine everyone. By the time we reached the venue, the car park was already a luxury auto showroom. The moment Yi Bai and I stepped into the hall we drew every eye. See, she whispered, if we hadn't dressed up, people would think you were still crying over Song Ziyu. Within minutes we spotted Song Ziyu, with his little secretary in tow. Tonight the girl dripped diamonds, the auction necklace glittering at her throat. Yi Bai rolled her eyes. Wear any more rocks and she'll snap her own neck. Around us the whispers rose. Who's the girl beside President Song? Haven't you heard? He outbid Miss Shen for that necklace to please his new flame. They broke up over it. Honestly, Song Ziyu used to be such a devoted lover, but men love novelty. If Miss Shen had turned a blind eye, it would have blown over. Yi Bai spun toward the speakers and gave a cold laugh. Oh, Mrs. Li, used to being a turtle with its head tucked in, so you think every man's cheating is normal. Mrs. Li had once been a famous starlet who married into wealth. Her husband's affairs were legendary, and she endured them all. Her face soured. What does an unmarried girl know? Wait until you're married. Every man strays. I tugged Yi Bai back before the scene grew louder. The two gossipers realized they'd been trash-talking directly behind the subject and slunk away. Why stop me? Yi Bai fumed. I hate people like her, siding with the cheater. Don't waste breath, I said. When she married Mr. Lee, she signed a prenup. Divorce leaves her penniless. All her youth spent for nothing. Letting her mouth save face is the only comfort she has left. Yibai opened her mouth to retort, but a swell of voices cut her off. Everyone's gaze swung toward the grand staircase. Lu Huayan appeared at the top. My breath caught. I glanced down at my gown. Same color palette as his suit. Even better looking after years abroad. Yibai whispered, "Your heart's not skipping?" I narrowed my eyes. "You'd better explain this dress you picked." She seized my hand. "Look, he's about to speak." The hall quieted. Lu Huayan, razor sharp in his tuxedo, looked older, colder. "Thank you for attending. From today I take full control of Lu Group's domestic operations." A collective intake of breath. This meant every future deal would flow through him. After outlining the group's new direction, he stepped down to thunderous applause. Instantly he was mobbed. He declined all business talk. "See me at the office tomorrow," then walked straight toward me. "You look stunning tonight," he said softly. Heat rushed to my cheeks. The question about the matching outfits slipped away. "President Lu, keep an eye on Yinyin. I'm off to find my brother," Yibai chirped, shoving me into Lu Huayan's arms. I threw a hand against his chest to steady myself. I watched Yibai vanish and sighed. Her brother wasn't even on the guest list. Because our outfits matched and Lu Huayan was the center of attention, speculation flared. Song Ziyu pushed through the crowd, eyes calculating. Someone nearby mused, "Miss Shen and President Lu look perfect together." The girl President Song brought. Who is she again? Wearing everything at once. Trying too hard. The secretary lifted her chin higher, unaware most eyes were laughing. "Since when are you two together?" Song Ziyu demanded, face livid, as if he'd been the one cuckolded. He moved closer, lowering his voice. "Even to spite me, you shouldn't pick a former loser." The words former loser were razor sharp. Half the room knew the history. Lu Huayan's expression stayed unruffled. "A year ago I may have lost to President Song, but the future is long, and you and Miss Shen are no longer connected." He turned to me. "Grandfather was asking for you. Shall we?" Rather than feed the gossip, I followed him toward the rear of the estate. We passed down a long corridor, then stepped onto a lawn suddenly twinkling with tiny lights. I gasped. Fireflies. Then reality struck. Wrong season. A firework burst overhead, illuminating a garden of champagne-colored roses, my favorite. Guests in the front courtyard hurried out to watch. I teased, "Your own welcome banquet, yet fireworks this girly?" Lu Huayan stood behind me, voice low. "They're for you. You like them, don't you?" His breath tickled my ear. I shifted away, suddenly dizzy. I'd had only one glass of champagne. When had my tolerance become so poor? I think I'm drunk." He steadied me, palm to my forehead. "No fever. Let me take you to rest." I clutched his hand, moved it to my cheek. My forehead was cool, my cheeks burning. He murmured something I couldn't catch. The next thing I knew, he lifted me. I landed on soft bedding, surrounded by his scent. A cool towel brushed my face, but the heat only grew. I clung to his hand, demanding ice cream between incoherent sentences. Lu Huayan's breathing roughened. A doctor knocked, but the door stayed locked. Lu Huayan finally barked. "Not needed." I woke in an unfamiliar room. For 3 full minutes I stared at the ceiling before daring to check the other side of the bed. Empty, sheets pristine. I exhaled, until I stood up and my legs buckled. Pushing up my pajama bottoms, I froze. Last night had not been a dream. I had actually slept with Lu Huayan. A knock sounded. "Miss Shen, are you awake?" a maid called. I cleared my throat. She entered with a stack of clothes, underwear included. "Where's your young master?" The maid hid a grin. "Don't worry, miss. The old master summoned him earlier. He'll be back." I fled to the bathroom, changed in record time. Last night the butler brought a doctor, but the young master sent him away and changed the sheets himself. He told us to wait outside, said you were exhausted. The more she talked, the more my head throbbed. "This wasn't an accident," I muttered. "I think the champagne was tampered with. Could I get a copy of last night's surveillance?" "Of course," the young master said to grant every request. I rushed to the security room and ran straight into Lu Huayan coming out. Instant regret. I should have bolted home. "You're awake?" His ears turned crimson, his gaze skittered away. "Are you sore anywhere?" "Last night I'm fine." I cut him off. "I'd like to see the footage." He dismissed the maid with a glance. When he stepped closer, I backed against the wall. "What are you doing?" He looked almost wounded. "It was an accident, but I'll take responsibility. I've already spoken with grandfather. You told told your grandfather? My voice cracked. One reckless night could have been shrugged off, but now the family patriarch knew, like being caught red-handed by a parent. I forced calm. It was an accident. Let it go. We're adults. He tilted his head, puzzled, but grandfather said a man must own up. And I've never been intimate with a woman before. My face flamed hotter. Suddenly I felt like the villain. That's nice, but I don't need you to take responsibility. Understand? Still looking? Can't bear to see him go. I whipped my head back. Lu Huayan had blocked my only escape route. I couldn't run, so I sat still. My dad set this up. I didn't even know who it was. Only after the words left my mouth did I realize I sounded like I'd been caught cheating and was scrambling to explain. Lu Huayan, that night was an accident. I straightened my spine. Lu Huayan's face filled my vision. Warm lips pressed to mine. An arm snaked around my waist and pulled me flush against him. My heart pounded like rain on the window. When I finally pushed him away, breathless, he let me go. I don't like hearing that. Why would you rather go on blind dates than accept me? Am I that terrible? And why drink then come meet a stranger? What if he'd meant you harm? I sniffed my sleeve. No alcohol smell. How? Did you know I'd been drinking? I went to the bar to pick you up and missed you. I thought, since you were drinking, you wouldn't come to the date. Yet here you are. No need to ask. Yi-bai was the informant. I forced myself to stay calm, because Grandpa Lu and you have both treated me so well. If I'm not certain I truly love you, I can't marry you. Yi-bai probably told you. I have to marry to receive the shares Grandpa left me. Without love, I'd rather pick a stranger. Lu Huayan tugged me outside, stuffed me into his car, locked the doors, and started the engine. Lu Huayan, where are we going? He said nothing, just drove with single-minded focus. Outside, rain poured harder. We left the city farther and farther behind. Panic fluttered in my chest. Had my words pushed him over the edge? Was he driving to some wilderness to dispose of my body? Just outside the city limits, the car finally stopped. Lu Huayan dashed into the rain, umbrella in hand, opened my door, and stretched out a hand. Only then did I notice how beautiful the spot was. Mountains, water, veiled in mist. I took his hand. Silently, he led me through a winding bamboo path. And then, like something out of a fairy tale, a castle appeared. I prepared this for a year back then. I meant to bring you here that winter, but before it arrived you'd already agreed to be with Songziyu. Fuzzy memories finally clicked. The house looked familiar because it matched the tiny one inside the glass snow globe I'd given him. The year I gave him that globe, my mother had just passed away, and his parents had died in a plane crash. The closest we ever came to each other was during that period when we clung together for warmth. The day I handed him the globe, I pointed at the miniature castle inside. Maybe Mom and your parents have gone to a place like this, where they can be happy because they loved each other. I can't say that for my mom. I know she died unhappy. Dad wanted to give the shares Grandpa left me to his illegitimate son. Mom quarreled with him day and night, until she fell ill and died within a year. When I was little I blamed the bastard, but when I grew up I realized the one truly at fault was Dad, the father I'd always loved. He never gave me equal love, maybe never gave Mom any at all, which is why he cheated and cared more about his son outside. I never imagined that little trinkle I gave you to comfort you would become real. You remember? It was the first gift you ever gave me. I wanted to give you the exact same home. His feelings for me aren't gratitude for saving Grandpa, or mere habit. I know exactly what I'm doing. Even if you don't love me that much right now, 10 years, 20 years, if you're by my side, I'd gladly spend my whole life. All I've ever wanted, since I was little, is a home with you. I stood still, rain between us, staring at the house. Since Mom died, no one had ever laid the idea of home so concretely before me. I walked toward it. Lu Huayan opened the door. Empty? I'm waiting for you to furnish it the way you like. He took my hand and pressed a key into my palm. Whatever you decide, this house is yours. I closed my fingers. The key left sharp edges against my skin. Lu Huayan, if one day I still haven't fallen in love with you, and you no longer like me, just tell me. I'll agree to a divorce. Joy flared in his eyes, the corners turning red. He swept me up and spun me around. That day will never come. In the Lu family we have widowers, no divorces. I smacked his shoulder. Don't jinx it, Grandpa will scold you. That's what Grandpa told me. Go ask him yourself. On the drive home I got a call from Yi-bai, who was cackling. Word is Lu Huayan scared your blind date away? I glanced at the man driving beside me. The blind date and he are on the same team, no need to chase. And you, my best friend, sold me out the second he bribed you. Yi-bai laughed guiltily on the other end. I confess, the price was irresistible. Besides, I'm only helping him. If he still can't win you, I'll run away with you and 8 hot guys. Running away is off the table, and 8 hot guys are even more off the table, came Lu Huayan's icy voice from the driver's seat. Yi-bai squealed. I hung up. Lu Huayan, you've gotten slick, planning everything from the moment you came back? He was silent a moment. You know I can control every variable, except you. My father won't agree to the marriage easily. He's always wanted me to marry rich enough. But a family as powerful as the Lu's? He's afraid once I marry in, I'll slip out of his grasp. Completely. That's one reason I didn't say yes to you at first. Don't worry, Grandpa will speak to your father. I have to marry and get my father's signature on the agreement before I can claim the shares. Those shares don't threaten him directly, but he still doesn't want them in a daughter's hands. What he doesn't know is that over the past few years I've quietly bought up scattered private shares. Once they're mine, I can force him to step back, and his precious illegitimate son will never set foot in the company. As soon as Lu Huayan dropped me off, the housekeeper appeared with a velvet box. Inside lay the necklace from the last auction. I snapped the lid shut and tossed it back. Return it to whoever sent it. The Shun family isn't a charity. A few days later, Grandpa Lu brought Lu Huayan to our house. My father greeted them with a broad smile. After some unknown conversation in the living room, he readily agreed to the marriage. Once the Lu family left, Dad returned to his study still beaming. I lay in bed texting Lu Huayan. You didn't promise him anything outrageous, right? Dad looked like he'd struck gold. He did open his mouth wide. But since the Lu family will soon be yours anyway, let's call it an early betrothal gift. We threw ourselves into furnishing the house. The location was remote, but quiet and secluded, like a hidden paradise. By the time the renovations were nearly finished, winter had arrived. Lu Huayan rested his chin on my shoulder, arms around me, as we stood at the window. Winter's here. I never thought the first winter in this house would actually be with you. I've waited so long. I looked at the heavy sky. Lu Huayan, it looks like it'll snow tonight. Sure enough, by dusk soft flakes were drifting down. I ran outside in delight, laughing up at the sky. He raised his camera and captured the moment forever. Yi Bai's call came through only after I realized it was already afternoon. Last night I'd gotten soaked in the snow, and before we went to bed Lu Huayan had practically forced a huge cup of ginger tea down me. He hadn't woken me this morning either. The moment I picked up, Yi Bai's voice exploded from the other end. Get up, get dressed. Tonight I'm taking you to an auction to get your revenge. She burst into my house so impatiently that I finally learned there was an auction scheduled for that very evening. According to her sources, Song Ziyu would be there, and the item on the block was that necklace. I got myself ready, but Yi Bai still wasn't satisfied. She circled me several times, frowning as if something was missing, until Lu Huayan walked in. Her eyes lit up. She dragged him over to me. Perfect. A beauty has to be flanked by a handsome man, the best fashion accessory a woman can have. Lu Huayan played along perfectly. Then I'd better tidy up too. Can't let Ayin lose face. Yi Bai patted his arm approvingly. You're already leagues ahead of Song Ziyu. In the end it was Yi Bai who led the two of us to the auction. When we arrived, the manager in charge was waiting at the entrance. The moment we stepped out of the car, he hurried over. President Lu, welcome. Everything's arranged. His gaze flicked between Yi Bai and me, and he added with a smile, and this must be the future Mrs. Lu? I glanced at Lu Huayan. He curved an arm around my shoulders and nodded. Because Yi Bai had rushed us, we'd arrived early. The manager showed us to a private lounge, and once we were alone I turned to Lu Huayan. Why do I get the feeling he was expecting you? Lu Huayan coughed once. I was planning to come anyway. Yi Bai clapped her hands, beaming at him like a proud mother-in-law. You read my mind. You're here to help Ayin get even. Lu Huayan merely gave a non-committal nod. I looked at Yi Bai, then at him, wondering if the world had tilted. A while later the manager returned to announce the auction was starting. As soon as we stepped out, I spotted Song Ziyu in the third row. He jumped up when he saw me, then froze when he noticed Lu Huayan at my side. We took our seats in the front row. The moment the necklace, once bought by Song Ziyu at an inflated price, appeared, Yi Bai's paddle shot up. Because he'd overpaid originally, few bidders were interested now. Lu Huayan didn't raise his paddle until the end. The instant he did, Song Ziyu joined in. Everyone turned to stare. Who bids on something he himself had put up for sale? Song Ziyu's eyes were locked on Lu Huayan. Yi Bai muttered under her breath. Any stranger would think he's got the hots for Lu Huayan. After Song Ziyu's counterbid, Lu Huayan calmly added 10 million. I tugged his sleeve. Are you crazy? I don't even like the necklace that much. He patted my hand. He won't raise again. Sure enough, Song Ziyu lowered his paddle. The necklace went to Lu Huayan. Yi Bai whispered, rumor is the Song company's in trouble. Why else would he auction it? I lost interest in the remaining lots. Lu Huayan tilted his head and tapped his own shoulder. Rest a while. I leaned against him, drowsy. A sudden cheer startled me awake. The auctioneer was now holding up a diamond ring and recounting its romantic provenance. Starting price 100 million. Only a handful of paddles rose. Then Lu Huaiyan's voice cut through the room. 150 million. The moment the auction ended, we were swarmed by reporters outside. President Lu, what's the meaning behind the 2 pieces you bought tonight? Who are they for? Lu Huaiyan laced his fingers through mine, his lazy smile fixed on Song Ziyu, who had just emerged. The necklace is for my wife to toss around. If she wants something, nothing is too expensive. The ring, he lowered his gaze to me, is for the wedding. Song Ziyu's face turned livid. Yi Bai fan the flames. Why don't you ask Mr. Song how he feels right now? A bold reporter thrust a mic at Song Ziyu. He shoved it away irritably and tried to push toward us, but Lu Huaiyan already had me in the car. Through the window, Yi Bai watched Song Ziyu still trapped by reporters and laughed gleefully. A few months ago, he was splurging on that necklace for his secretary. Now he doesn't dare bid a cent. As the car pulled away, Lu Huaiyan placed a box in my hand. Inside lay the necklace. Keep it if you like, if not, we'll donate it to charity. I snapped the lid shut and put it back in his palm. Auction it off. Otherwise, I'll keep remembering the past. He nodded and tucked it away. Our wedding followed without a hitch. A wedding of the century. The media covered for a full month. I successfully inherited Grandpa's shares and became the company's largest shareholder. At the board meeting when I revealed the share transfer documents, my father was caught completely off guard. You've been plotting against me all along? He snatched the papers and tried to tear them. I watched coolly. Go ahead, they're only copies. I have plenty more. And dear father, haven't you been scheming against me for years? That night he checked himself into the hospital, but I knew he wasn't sick. He was gambling that I couldn't handle the company alone and would beg him to return. Unfortunately for him, I never asked. With Lu Huaiyan's help, I mastered company affairs in no time. Most employees saw which way the wind was blowing. The few who tried to trip me up were promptly dismissed. A month later, everything was running smoothly. Dad stayed in the hospital feigning illness. No one invited him back, and he was excluded from every board meeting. Eventually, a cooperative project proposal arrived, submitted by the Song Group. When I saw Song Ziyu's name on the cover, I tossed the file to my assistant. From now on, any proposal from the Song family goes straight to the shredder. The Song company, though not bankrupt, had been so battered it was a shadow of its former self. Plenty of better partners had already seized its market share. When I left work that evening, Song Ziyu was waiting downstairs. A year had aged him. He rushed toward me the moment he spotted me, only to be blocked. Mr. Song, please don't charge at my wife like that. I looked at Lu Huaiyan's back and couldn't suppress a smile. Yi Bai's description of him as strictly defensive was spot on. Song Ziyu's eyes fixed on me. I came on business. If it's that cooperation proposal, it's already rejected. My company will never work with Song Group again. He stared at me, voice hoarse. Do you hate me that much? I smiled. Not hate. I simply don't want anything to do with you anymore. I took Lu Huaiyan's hand and walked toward the entrance. On the drive home, Lu Huaiyan was in high spirits. The moment we stepped into our little house, he swept me into a twirl. Mrs. Lu, do you love me a tiny bit more today? It was the same question he asked every single day since our wedding. I steadied myself on his shoulders and held up my thumb and forefinger an inch apart. Just a smidge. Mr. Lu, keep working hard tonight. He dropped a kiss on my forehead. Working hard tonight it is.